purpose is to obtain council direction regarding the Colliery Dams Process Investigation Services request for proposal. And there is a delegation, Mr. Leon Cake.
Thank you, Worship.
Mr. Cake, before you get started, I just wanted to say, please don't consider that there's going to be any a slight towards you. But when Councillor Bester gets back, I'm going to excuse myself for a few minutes. So it's not because it's you or anything, okay?
I know
Please don't take any slight.
No, I know that.
Thank you.
Thank you for qualifying that. Should I wait for Councillor Bester to come back?
No, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My name is Leon Cate. I live at 5936 Schooner Way, now in BC, as we all know. I spoke to the terms of reference on October 19th, 2015 in regards to some of the wording we wanted to see get changed in that document. So I want to speak tonight to the what's before you. With some information that I feel that hopefully will help council make a positive decision in this direction. And what I'm going to do is speak against the expenditure of money on any more movement on RFP. And I'll give you some reasons why I've again, my garage is consumed with every report there ever was as I look for things to bring to council so that they could evaluate and look at the documentation that's actually printed by consultants that the city has paid to bring forward their information in the process to make decisions. So the history of myself, we all know from the beginning, all the committees followed the process, and to this point now where I'm speaking against spending any more money on this situation. The focus at the time was the remediation of the dams at the beginning of this. In regards to the reports, and I'll use this example of why I'm so strongly speaking against the expenditures, I do not feel that any consultant or any independent investigation or any other body of persons looking at this could find any reasons to contradict another one's work. Because I'll give you an example. In 5 of the reports, and I have them all here, and I'm going to give a binder to Chris so that you do have it on record. In 5 of the different reports, I can show you 5 different times when we talk about the inability to recognize rebar. In KCB's reports, EBA's reports, Water Management Consultants, Willis County Tate, and Herald Engineering. In different reports, there's rebar that was found, there was rebar that was discussed, there was rebar that was assumed, and I'm using that because that was the beginning when we went down the road of seismic, and then we went over to flood inundation. So that in itself, if I was a consulting engineer or an independent person investigating, if I looked at 5 different scenarios and I said to myself, how can I criticize one of these scenarios and bring forward something that is positive in saying an investigation is going to prove something, I don't think there would be a consulting firm or an individual that would stand up and say, hey, I think this is wrong and they didn't do this right, because there's a report over here now that's going to say, well, yes, they did do it right because we saw it this way. So I think that would be a lot of money wasted to try to determine on what would be the outcome of what you'd want from that. Lots of money spent, lots of studies done, lots of reports done, probably time to really learn and listen. I'll just cite the reports so that you know, KCB 2013 August, DBA 2010 April, Herald Engineering 2009, Willis County Tate 1990. Not until our technical committee was formed did we actually investigate rebar in the dams. We did coring and we found samples of the rebar in an analysis. So, that information was gathered back at that point in time. I don't think you'll get one consultant to ever comment over another consultant. It's kind of, after 40 years in doing construction and being in the civil business, I've never seen another engineer criticize or comment over another engineer. It's kind of like in the brotherhood. What I'd like to say to council, if they consider those things I've said tonight regarding spending no money and looking at what I would call not proceed with the services requested, but what I am concerned about, what I think council needs to look at, is the middle dam. We do have enough information, and we do have a piece of documentation from the provincial government that says by 2017, this was a letter to Toby, by 2017 the government wants to know something on that middle dam. And my concerns regarding the middle dam is that the city needs to start preparing what I would say a defense of spending any money up there based on some reports that I can give you information from, which again will start us down the road of contradiction. We need to be prepared to defend the taxpayer's wallet again on the Middle Dam based on information that exists from the reports. If we look at a discussion on water flow rates for the Middle Dam, Water Management Consultants' April 2002 study says that the Middle Dam will pass the 1,000-year flood for the Middle Spillway. But we move ahead to February 25th, 2015, letter to the city manager and a Golder report, and Golder says that the Middle Dam will not pass anything above a 50-year storm event. So we're going from a 1,000-year event that it will pass to a 50-year event that it won't pass within 5 years of reports. So that to me is, which one's right? Which one is going to save the taxpayers money? I want to go with the 1,000-year study and go back on the government and say, we've done the major works downstream. And in the reports and some of the sessions that I sat in on over the years, there was a lot of discussion that maybe we wouldn't have to do a thing to the Middle Dam if we did a lot of the things on the Middle Dam, or the Lower Dam, that we really, in the end, accepting it or not, we've probably mitigated a lot of the cost of that Middle Dam. Even if it's going to be an eyesore, it's still going to be done. So what I'm asking council is to start considering now to look at a way to, start that plan. We do have the process in place for, and it's in a discussion, it's in the report, about having, the ability to watch for the increasing of water in the Middle Dam. We do have some information that requests us to have telemonitoring systems, so we can actually see what's going on before it happens. Because in one of the reports, there is a 47-minute time frame. Okay, 47 minutes is a long time when it starts to rain and a crisis is happening, that we can have the actual information in our hands, knowing that something's happened in the Middle Dam. We have spent that money on the Lower Dam to prepare for any kind of overtopping from the Middle Dam. We need to gather that information prior to 2017. How do we gather that information? I think that the people that were involved in the process, the ones that actually followed the process and actually cared and considered making this become a reality of making sure that the taxpayer's wallet wasn't deepened any more than what it has been, and get back to the table and start working together on preparing that, because we do have the documentation to prepare this. It's in the reports. The thing I find is, and what I have found, and I'm not criticizing any individual for the city, any staff member, any person that works here, is reading the reports. I read thousands of pages of city reports, and it's boring, but in those thousands of pages I find things and I learn things, and I don't know whether sometimes people just accept the report from the consultant as they paid for that report, I'm going to accept that report, and then maybe gloss through it or pass over it or think it's, gospel. I don't always look at things that way. I always see, hey, I want to see a little bit deeper here. So with Glenn Davidson and Victoria, prior to 2017, I think we got to be proactive with what we're going to do with that Middle Dam. There's information that states, like I said, you got one report saying it would pass the 1 in 1,000 year flood, where another report by Golder in 2015 says it won't pass a 50-year flood. So we need to look at that.
Mr. Kick, you have 2 minutes.
2 minutes? I'd just like to close with a couple of things real quickly here. I just also like to say, and I'm glad to see Toby, who's sitting here, Toby's sitting here. I just like to say one thing, as a person that worked on this committee with Toby, that I commend Toby for his efforts and his work in the city of Nanaimo under very excruciating times and places and meetings, and in my case, in my judgment at times, maybe even being thrown under the bus a little bit. We have been hard on Toby. I know our community has been hard on Toby. I always said to Toby, we'll agree to disagree, but I also respect the man. And I also know in our community that he has given outstanding work and service to the city of Nanaimo. And I think we can't lose sight of those things. Maybe some of us did while we went through this process of the dams, because it's a very, very, in the city's history, there will never be another issue like this. We never need to let another issue get like this. But I also like to say at this time, I'm glad to see Toby sitting in that chair right now. So one last thing. Christmas wish. to give the citizens of Harewood a Christmas gift of half the signs coming down in Harewood, so that they know eventually that most of those signs are gonna come down once we remediate the lower dam. Please have a safe holiday, each and every one of you. You got a lot of work to do in 2016, but let's get off on the right foot. Let's not spend any money tonight. Let's listen to what I said. Easy motion. Let's get on with business. Let's take care of the middle dam. Let's get our act together so we can defend what we're doing up there, so we don't spend a bunch more money and get into the same circumstances of the government pushing us, and then we realize that we should have pushed back harder. Thank you.
Mr. Kate,
Thank you for your presentation, as always. We have two speakers, three actually, Councillor Kipp, Councillor Pratt, and Mr. Seward, I believe, in that order. Thank you.
Well, yeah, not so much, well, the question is that you're trying to move forward on the middle dam, and I appreciate that, and hopefully that we've done enough work to that. I just want to say I appreciate the work that you've dedicated to the community, to the Colliery Dam. I know you've taken some hard times too, and I appreciate the fact of what you've talked tonight. The one thing I'm concerned about, you pointed to me when you said Mr. Seward was thrown under the bus. Did you mean to do that?
No, I was scanning the room. I sort of went like this. Sorry.
I know it has been a tough situation, and I hope it doesn't ever happen again. I appreciate the effort you put in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kipp. Councillor Pratt.
Thank you. Mr. Cake, I really appreciate you coming tonight and speaking to us in the way that you have. As you know, I wasn't in favor of going ahead with an RFP for an investigation because I, like you, feel that there is little to be gained from that. I also really appreciate your words in regard to Mr. Seward. I do believe that all of our staff worked very hard to try to come to a positive solution, and there really was no positive solution to be had. I think we all did the best that we could, and it wasn't good enough for a lot of people, and we all regret that. But I really appreciate you coming tonight, you especially coming tonight and offering up your time and your expertise to help the city in any way to get to a solution for the middle dam as well, because we can't ignore that. You're absolutely right, and I do know that our staff is already working on that and is very aware of it. And so thank you very much for coming tonight. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seward, and then Councillor Yocum.
Thank you, Councillor Bestwick. Just to confirm, is in the original order, the dam safety section said that they would be looking for a report on a conceptual plan for the middle dam by the end of this year and improvements by the end of 2017 if they are needed. I was in a conference call last week with dam safety and our consultant to do exactly that, to produce a report by the end of this year, so next Thursday hopefully, that will outline a conceptual plan of how we move forward, which in the best cases, as Mr. Cake has described, is do nothing, but we don't know if we can achieve that or not, but certainly that's our goal. So as soon as that letter is produced, it will be distributed to council and put on the web page. And then secondly is early in the new year, we'll be back to council seeking direction on doing some study on that, because there will be a cost to do that on the middle dam of advancing the conceptual plan and what that would be. So that is, as Councillor Pratt mentioned, that's underway as we speak, and we'll certainly have something back for you quite shortly. The second thing is on signage. It's part of our emergency plan. We committed to having the signage in place until the auxiliary spillway is commissioned, and as noted, that's hopefully in the next 3 months or so, and then all signage will come down once the auxiliary spillway is commissioned.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Councillor Yocum is next in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Leon, thank you. Mr. Cake, thank you for your presentation, and somewhat more so words of encouragement and some guidance in going forward. You have been a champion in this process, advocating for what you believe was right, and in my view, what was most likely right. So I want to thank you for your words this evening, and also going back to one of my 3 motions regarding this, I won't call it what I think of this, but nevertheless, with no one responding to the RFP, and in the spirit of reconciliation, knowing it was my motion, I was firm in that motion that evening on having an investigation for the simple fact that numerous flawed reports that contradicted each other, numerous wasn't sure about the politics, wasn't sure about who's communicating who, years of this and years of that. I wanted the report to, most of all, it wasn't a witch hunt of any sort, but it was more so of, so history don't repeat itself. But like we said this evening, we all work together, and we can also make sure history don't repeat itself with us working together as one. So in the spirit of the era of reconciliation of our community, we come together healing and work together so we can make the least intrusive project possible for the Middle Dam. So I look forward to that work for all the experts in the area in the new year. So I just want to share those words again. Thank you very much coming forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hopefully this will get passed around for council members. It's going to be an abbreviated, and you can see some of the things, and it'll clarify why I spoke against the RFP, because, like I say, I'm like you, the taxpayer wallet comes number one. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you.
We have a motion to receive the delegation from Councillor Kipp, seconded by Councillor Fuller. Call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Regarding the Colliery Dam's process investigation services request for proposal. If we would like Ms. Samra to provide us with some direction, or Mr. Ferrero on some direction on this topic, it would be appreciated by council.
Thank you, Your Worship. What I've done on the report, I gave you a few options council may consider tonight. If you want me, I can read those out.
I think for the benefit of council, if you could please, and knowing that it was such a sensitive topic in the community for a number of years, it might be of value.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the choices that council have right now is to repost the RFP, same as you did before for a longer time. Another option would be to amend the RFP terms of reference and repost. The other one would be to issue an expression of interest, so other companies can quote if they're interested on. We could attempt to negotiate the contract with one or more firms and see why we didn't get any response from the RFP. We can simply not proceed with the services as requested, or we can entertain any other options that council may have.
Thank you for that update. I have Councillor Thorpe and Councillor Yocum in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After listening to the presentation from Mr. Cake and giving us some thought, I'm prepared at this time to make a motion of one of the options that Mr. Ferrero has just read out, and that would be, I would move that we do not proceed with the services requested.
Thank you. That is moved by Councillor Thorpe and seconded by Councillor Brennan. That is the fifth bullet on page 18, which indicates do not proceed with the services requested. Would anybody, Councillor Yocum, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, please. I was similar to making a motion or recommendation, a suggestion of what Councillor Thorpe's mentioned in regards to proceed, but still in the light of it, I don't want to go spending, as Mr. Cake has mentioned as well, going spending more taxpayers' dollars, but maybe internally be still, if staff have time, I know we're going to do our core review to give a timeline. So, but again, babbling, what I want to say is basically make sure history doesn't repeat itself. We get a timeline there, but we can do that more internal, not part of this motion. So, Councillor Thorpe, I suggest your motion is about not spending more resources on this matter, on the RFP. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. I see no other speakers, therefore I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.